I'm sorry, Kurt. It's not how we normally start, but I wanted to hop on today and to start this way, man, because we got a very special guest in the building with us.
Very special.
Very special guest in the building with us. I mean, listen, if you guys can probably see him, because if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what I mean? No, he's not related to us. We're not sure if he is, though.
Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the very funny Sam Ike, y'all. Woo! Oh yeah. Yeah, what up, Sam? Yeah, I want to just hop in. Just hop in. Is Kirk? Are you okay with that, Kirk? Just to hop in,
Yeah.
man?
Pop in, baby. Pop in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Property Ebonics.
Do it. So you know, we all stand-up comedians, and I wanted to hop in because Kirk just let us know that he did a live show yesterday, and I wanted to know all about it, and I want the people to know. So that's why I wanted to hop on right now.
Bro, I want the
Tell us
people to know about it. I want to tell the people about it. Welcome to Property Ebonics.
Yeah. What was it like?
Yeah, so it was out in Allentown, Lehigh Valley. Chris Freed, they put a show out near the Allentown Market, and they did it outdoors in an alley, which like an elevated stage, and people were just like far away from each other. It was like at least 15 feet away from the crowd. And they had like an amp and all that, so it was cool. The audience members, there was maybe 40 to 50 of them, and not really social distancing, not a lot of masks. If you see the age demographic, it was like, yo, you guys should be wearing masks. You guys are old.
It was old people?
There were some old people. There's some old people. There's some young people and old people. So a bunch of different viruses going around.
I've only briefly been to Allentown. Is it typically an older community, or like
No, like it's one of the few places where you'll get elderly people at comedy shows, I find, in Allentown. But there are younger people that come there. It was predominantly white. It was interesting because like it was in an alley, and it was very much like the first time I ever saw like an alley be gentrified. Like that was kind of odd. But people were into it. It was cool. It was nice to be able to perform again.
Yeah.
I realized how much I missed. I didn't touch the microphone. I had gloves on.
So you did hands free, like a mime?
Yeah, no. People were like insisting. They're like, "Yo, touch my hand." And I'm like, "No." And like I did elbows to some people and all that. I did one fist bump to the host while they were bringing me up, but I was not. I'm like, no. I stayed away. I stayed away until my set was ready. And then I criticized the people for not wearing masks. Like I went hard on them for that, but it was good. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't outdoors.
Yeah.
Okay, because that was something I was gonna ask. Because like I never use the mic. I very rarely use the mic anyway. Like if you ever saw, if you ever seen
you project.
Me, yeah, I just yell. Like you can already hear. I rarely use the mic anyway. But like I wondered, would you have done it if it was indoors? Because I am going to do an indoor show next week, but it's in like this like barn. It's like it's like there's a wide open door and stuff like that. It's like you're inside. You're like, it's like slightly more structured than a tent, but it's not a full building. You know, and like it's in the middle woods. I was gonna go on a trip. I was going on a trip anyway that weekend for 4th of July. Just like I was gonna go hiking, you know, with the girl and
yeah. We love gossip on Property Ebonics. You want for you to pepper in that girl talk. You have to elaborate that on later.
She even said that I could touch her boobs.
Oh,
well, that's respect and borders and all stuff, but it's just a weird thing to say up front. I guess I need to know the context of this relationship.
Yeah, we've been seeing each other a bit.
Oh, all right, cool.
But so I was already gonna go like, you know, hiking, just spend a day or two in the woods, and then I got asked to do this like show, and I was like, I'm not seeking to go do comedy. I'm not seeking it in any way, but if it's convenient enough, I'll go do it. And I'm very interested in it's also like a curiosity. What is it like? Like what was it like being on stage? Like, did you do jokes did you do a joke that you realize while you were telling it, it is now different because the world is now different.
So I thought that, yeah, I have a joke that touches on race. I have like a whole like chunk that touches on race. And beforehand, I was like, oh, I wonder if this will be different. But the way how I open it up, I like just address the racial pandemic. I addressed everything going on, made some jokes about that and all that stuff. So I think it kind of set the idea that like, oh, he's not just like rehearsing jokes that he's already done. Like he's acknowledging this. So it kind of gave me more room to go into that. And it played off. Like it worked. The jokes I did, like the older ones. It was cool.
Do you think that the white people were giving you more laughs because now they understand that Black Lives Matter?
Well, yeah, I think one thing that got them going, there was like people walking, because it was like a courtyard, people walking past. So I was interacting with them because I was like, oh, you guys disrupted my set, what the hell? And then like, I made up some stuff that they're saying. I was like, what's that? What's all lives matter? I gotcha. And then they erupted. The white people erupted. So I couldn't really tell with them. Like, oh, are they able to tell that I was doing a joke? Or are they just like, yes. I think it was they recognized.
You're like, yes, all lives do matter. Yes.
They all took a knee. I'm like, what? That's weird.
I was wondering, like, more so, like, not like about like what was like, I don't know if you have any like material that's like about like dating or a weird thing that happened to you on the subway, like something that feels weirdly dated, but it was only 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Very. How does that play in a live audience? You know?
Yeah. Well,
I do that joke. You know?
That's another thing that I felt like I had to address, because like I feel like a lot of setups for comics is like, the other day I was doing this, and it's like I set up, I was like, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You weren't. You weren't quarantined. You did not do that unless your setup is the other day I was rioting. That's the only way you would be able to get away with something like that. But I set it up. I was like, 2019 was wild. Like I was like, that's the other. Otherwise, I was doing nothing the other day. So it was easy to be able to navigate through that. I think in general, the audience, they're appreciative just to have comedy and live sort of thing. So they're very much like, they weren't hard on anything. It felt, like how improv crowds are. It felt like an improv crowd at a stand-up show. That's the best way I could put it. They're very much like ready to laugh.
So are you ready to keep doing them? Because you know me, I'm not. I haven't done it outdoor, indoor, no doors. I ain't doing them not right now. Are you gonna keep doing them?
No, these numbers keep rising up. I was a little scared yesterday. I was like, as I was driving up, because I saw the numbers are soaring up and all that. I don't think I would take another one for a while. It has to be outdoors if I am gonna do it. But I'm kind of just hanging back. Like I saw Harrisburg had a few shows coming up and all that, but I think I'm just gonna chill for a bit.
And this is the thing. So look, I feel like the show you did you said like 50 people, which is a good amount of people. Now I've seen shows where the only audience is the comedians. Please, comedians, stay at home. If that's the case, like if it's not, if you ain't getting paid enough, if you ain't getting enough work, just stay home. It ain't worth it. Like you can come on Instagram Live and do 5 minutes if you want that bad. You know what I mean? Like it gotta be worth it. You know what I'm saying? So like I feel like people, like the show you did 50 people, I understand it, but if there ain't nobody in the audience, stay the fuck home.
That's how I feel. They were advertising this for like 2 weeks. So I was like, all right, they'll probably get like a gathering or sorts. Sam, how do you feel about it, man? Would you do any? I know you have one coming up in about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, like, to me, I genuinely, like, I can't blame any, like, when I see, like, I don't really think like the outdoor shows matter in the sense of like, to me, there's no difference between an outdoor show and people having a cookout. In terms of like the social distancing, how people are going to operate. Like, I think like people are smart enough to know that. And what I think the argument that other comics are making now is about whether people should be doing clubs. And like, for me, it's like a club is a restaurant that's just themed. So I don't see the difference if we're going to allow a restaurant to have 60 people in it. To me, I don't see the difference if all of them are facing the same way and looking at the same thing. You're just adding 3 more people in that building. But I also like, I'm like very scared of Corona. I was scared of it and talking about it in February. Like I thought it was like a real thing. I was traveling around the country. I was in Seattle when the first case in Seattle happened. Like,
shit.
Yeah. Like I was on this whole cross country trip for 6 weeks. And when I got done, the lockdown happened. It was nuts. It was like the wild, I'll gladly talk about in a second, but like, well,
you're about to start tearing up a little bit.
No,
flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm just high as fuck and I'm just high as fuck and drinking whiskey right now. So like,
damn.
He just poured some out for his homies.
Yeah. It's mostly
my Wuhan boys.
But like, I feel like, you know, I don't feel like I can tell anybody what they should be doing financially. Like if like, look, this unemployment benefits run out in July. There's a lot of people that don't know what to do. Right. And it sucks. I think the biggest problem is that the United States government is putting people in a position where they feel like they have to go do their job. You know, I know comics who don't have any skill sets or older people, and they're like, look, I got to go do this club. Like, I don't know how else I'm going to get money. Like, for many comedians, the unemployment benefits go from you get that extra $600 to now you're going to get like $150 on unemployment. Yep. And it's just, you're not going to be able to survive. So like the problem is not, to me, this is not a comedian to comedian issue. You know what I mean? There are plenty of those, but to me, this is like a performing arts issue that between the artist and the government. Like, because there's cover bands, there's karaoke DJs that are in the same position. They don't want to go do it, but they also, like, I'll admit, I'm doing the show I'm doing because it's next to where I was about to go on vacation, and it's you know, 40, 50 people, whatever. I'm already going to be there, and it
makes sense. You're not just
money, yeah, you know what I mean? But I don't plan on doing another show. But like a month from now, if someone's like, hey, do you want to do this club for, you know, X amount, I feel like I have to do it because I don't know when my next check is.
And another thing, I agree with that because a lot of people are broke. Another thing is mental health. Like for me, like going on stage is just like a release. I feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like I go on stage all the time, but now you're talking about 3 months and I ain't seen it yet. Motherfuckers is going stir crazy, losing their mind. You know what I'm saying? So like, just like, yes, you got money, but just the fucking peace of mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
to be able to do what I love. You know what I'm saying? Like that's hard too. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been easy not doing shows. You know what I'm saying? But I try to look at it like this: like I could be broke, I could be mentally unstable. But if I'm alive, I'm gonna figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? So like, coronavirus could kill me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just try to figure it out the best that I can, broken, mentally unstable.
I want to put all that on a bumper sticker. All for the last 30 seconds of that, I want to put that all on a bumper sticker. Yo, you should make that in one of your shirts, dog. You should like that'd be nice, man. Yeah, I kind of wonder about that too, Sam. Like performing arts, people that work freelance, people that one of my last jobs was a TSS worker, where it's like you're working with clients face to face, social workers, all that. It's like, what do you do? And like some people, I've been seeing this going around of like the idea of like the going green phase. That's pretty much them normalizing death. Of very much like, oh yeah, we're going green. You could go out to work, you could go out to these restaurants. This thing is going away. In fact, scientists are saying there's been an increase. There's been conspiracies on the idea that they've been, a lot of the morgues and such have been, I guess like it would be the doctors, the cause of death, it's a signing off on it not being COVID. I don't know how true that is, but I definitely feel for the people that like that's their only means of income is through either performance or something that involves going out. So let's see how it develops, man. See how it develops.
Yeah. Again, the craziest thing, no matter how much anybody talks about Corona, it's like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, I guess we got to wait another 2 weeks and figure it out. It's like something changes every 2 weeks with it. And you just kind of have to adjust from that. Like, you know?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kirk.
Like,
I was gonna say something completely unrelated. So if you got some COVID talk, you gotta slip some COVID in there before I go on my unrelated tangent.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. It went from like, this isn't a thing to this is a thing to, oh, this is a real thing. South by Southwest just got canceled.
Yeah.
To this is extreme. NBA just got canceled. Now canceled. And then it was like, oh wow, the cases are rising. We shouldn't wear a mask. Don't go outside. Don't go driving. And then it became driving's okay. Then it was like, wear a mask. Then it was like, okay, you can't take a hike, but you should get exercise. And it just like, it all felt very confusing to a large chunk of people. Like most people are like, yeah, I get the basics of this, but there's a lot of unanswered things. And a big part of it is that if all three of us got it, all three of us could have very different symptoms.
Right.
And because of that, it's like it's so much harder to like quantify anything with it. You know, it's just it's so strange. It's
Some people, it's like, I think Scarface, the rapper, had it. And he was like, it felt like I was going to die. D.L. Hughley just caught it. He fainted on stage. Then you have some people, it's like, yeah, my hands were tingling. I think I got COVID. I think I got COVID, yeah. Like, it's very much like that. So you never really know. It's a mystery.
That George Stephanopoulos, the guy from Good Morning America, his wife, they both got it.
Oh.
His wife, she was one of the white girls from In Living Color.
One of the dancers?
No, one of the cast members.
He was married to J-Lo? No.
I think I think her name was like Alexander something. She was like, she wasn't the girl with the frizzy hair. She was the other Alexander Wentworth, I think was her name.
I keep thinking Jim Carrey, and I know you're not talking about Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I know you're not talking about Jim Carrey, so I'm going to try to get clues.
If I remember, there were 4 white cast members in the history of In Living Color. One was Jim Carrey. The other one was that girl with the frizzy hair, Kim something, maybe. And then there was this girl. Anyway, so George Stephanopoulos, they both got it. She like went to the hospital.
Oh, man.
He like sneezed for an hour. They're married, you know. Like, that's how crazy this thing is.
Could you imagine her? She's like getting wheeled out in the ambulance. He's sneezing. Like, you're not going to say bless you, babe, before you leave?
Man, shout out to the George Snuffleupagus family. I hope everything works out with them. I know having that name in itself can be rough, so get well soon. Sam, Alan, you know, we always getting deep in conversation. Proper box. We're about structure, though. We're about segments. We're about let's get some proper suggestions. Yeah. So my prop suggestion for this week is going to be something. It's going to be a movie that I hadn't watched in the last 10, 15 years and was looking for a reason to. That I finally did last week. New Jack City by Mario Van Peebles.
Hey.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Oh my goodness. This is such a phenomenal film. I forgot how many damn quotes are in this movie and like how many things stick with you. It was so nice. I'm doing some sort of shout to the podcast, Amusing Ourselves to Death. They pick a guest and the guest finds a movie to watch. And I was like, oh, I wanted to rewatch this one. Rewatched it and it still holds up. If you're looking for a good crime, drug film, funny film, hearts, Chris Rock is in it, New Jack City. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I'm glad you showed that. That's a classic right there, man.
Yeah. Man.
That one's one of those great just crime movies. Just a straight up good, fun crime movie. Like it's like, it's entertaining. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's also very, very like real. And I love it. But one of my favorite things, I don't know if you ever got a chance to check it out. One of my favorite Mario Van Peebles things he ever did is a movie called Badass.
Yeah, Sweetback's Badass song. His dad did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Sweetback. Yeah, it's like, Alan, I don't know if you know it.
I never seen it.
Dude, I'm a giant movie nerd, and like this movie is like a movie nerd. This is like black movie nerd like pinnacle right here.
Yeah.
So what this movie is.
Both of you guys got boners right now.
It's showing in our hair. Our afros are growing super fast right now.
It is basically a biofilm. Miles Van Peebles made a biofilm of his father making a black exploitation movie like 40 years ago.
Yeah,
and
one of the more known ones too.
Yeah. And it's awesome. It's so fucking good.
They would never be able to show that now. So Alan, the movie was a Sweet Sweetback's Badass song by Melvin Van Peebles, his father. And in that movie, one of the first scenes is Mario Van Peebles, the son, the director of New Jack City. He's like 8 years old having sex with a prostitute.
So he was like the first little Boosie, huh?
Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah. Melvin Van Peebles, first little Boosie. I rented that movie from a library when I was like maybe 15 or so. I don't know if I can download that anywhere. I think that's just like illegal to do now because of that scene. Like it's straight up just rated X. But it was a cool movie. Then he went on to do Mario Van Peebles as a director. He made Badass, where he plays his father, and it's pretty much them making the movie. It's a cool movie.
That's crazy. I see. I'm the exact opposite of like a movie nerd. I'm like a movie spectrum. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like I'm just the exact opposite of what's going on in the movie world. But I know about Mario Van Peebles and his father, and I know that Mario Van Peebles makes cameos in a lot of his movies. I do know that.
Yeah, he's in this. He's a detective.
Oh, yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, no. So that's what I recommend. Real quick, they asked me at work. They did a Juneteenth call on like Tuesday. They're like, we want to have a Juneteenth call and hear what you all thought and did on your half day for Juneteenth.
Whoa, slow down. A white person put this together?
No, well, it's the whole company.
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know who like initiated it, but my supervisor's blacks.
All right. Cool. Okay, so tell me about this. I'm interested to hear about these companies and their new.
I was like, well, went for a walk. A surprising amount of people are familiar with New Jack City.
Interesting. Was Kirk breaking up on your end, Sam, or just mine?
No, I was breaking up, but I didn't know if it was me or one.
I wasn't sure.
So I was like, I'm just gonna stand still and pretend like everything's frozen.
I seen like smoke coming out of your mouth, and I was like, maybe it's just Kirk then.
Well, if you guys missed it, I was calling out corporate America. That's what I was doing. I was calling them out, and I won't repeat it. Won't do it. Calling a capsule.
Calling out corporate America. Yo, you know who I want to call out real quick, man? Because I seen this. I don't know if you've seen this shit, but we all know what's going on with the NASCAR and the noose and all that stuff going on. And
wait. Before we get into that, though, we didn't do any suggestions.
Oh, my bad. I suggest that stop.
He's going to insult me. He's going to insult me. I know for a fact Alan is going to insult me right now.
I'm not. No, all right, here go my suggestion, right? Here go my suggestion for the people listening. No longer call them NASCAR. Call them Noose Car.
Ooh,
that's what we should call them.
I like that.
That's my suggestion. Because look, we call them Noose Car. Oh, one more thing too. But here goes another suggestion, a real one. Since you brought up New Jack City, the people listening should watch Paid in Full. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. You know what I mean? It's like a more hip New Jack City. I mean, produced by Rockefeller and all them. You know what I mean? So
that's the one that's the Cameron one.
Yeah.
The guy who directed that directed Drumline like that same year.
Oh, he was winning.
Yeah, hot summer.
Charles. No, that's a good one. I like if anyone ever presents the argument, I think I like State Property more.
Versus Paid in Full, or all of them?
Like Paid in Full is if you're just talking like story structure and acting, Paid in Full is a better film. It looks better. It is a better film. But State Property is so fucking crazy that it's hard to not love that movie. Like, it's the ending of that movie of just Beanie Siegel being like, I got 800 years and I'm state property, motherfucker. It's like the fucking, it's it's like so nuts that the point of the movie is that he's proud that he got caught.
Wait, then he must have got out because they're state property too.
Yeah, I didn't see the second one. Because I was like, I'm not getting into that corporate bullshit. Not getting into the state property monopoly you're trying to pull off.
This is why I gotta disagree with you, Sam. I'm gonna disagree with you because Paid in Full is a true story. Like that's the part that's like, hold on, this is real. Like
Beanie Siegel's in jail for 800 years right now. You didn't know that? You didn't know that? Sam, continue talking about this documentary. People need to know.
Oh, and Jay-Z's part in that movie, like Jay-Z, horrendous actor. Like
not great.
Did not take acting class at all. Like you can tell Beanie Siegel at least took an acting class. Like they were like, Beanie, you gotta at least work with this acting coach. And he's like, I can't shoot them. And they're like, no, you can't. You have to, you have to do some miser techniques. And Jay-Z was like, Jay-Z just called Dame Dash and was like, hey, I'm gonna be in a car. I'm gonna drive to this spot. Just film me in the car. Like when you watch State Property, Jay-Z has 3 scenes. 2 of them are him in his car telling Dame Dash, just go, yeah, just kill her. Just kill him.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And I'm pretty sure he's one of the starring, like you look on the front of the DVD, it's like starring Jay-Z.
Yeah. He has 6 lines. 4 of them are, yeah, just go kill the bitch. Like that's, and his character's name is, do you know what his character's name is?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, it's so good. Do you want to take a guess?
Jigga Man acting.
Thug Nasty.
It's Thug Nasty.
Did you say Thug Nasty?
Yeah.
It is Untouchable J.
I like that. Good. Good.
Oh, fucking good.
I'm okay with that.
About this movie, great.
The crazy thing about it too is that like that supporting actor Golden Globe he got nominated for it. That was pretty cool.
I loved how it was between him and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, it was. It reminded me of the time Viola Davis won for Doubt. I was like, wow, you're in that movie for like 10 minutes.
Viola Davis in Doubt is like, yes, that scene is undoubtedly compelling, and it is masterful acting.
It's
but
like
she's also in it for 3 minutes.
Just sob. It's cold. The crying is like stuck on her face. I think it's filmed. And actually, before we get too ahead of ourselves, Sam, you got a proper suggestion?
Oh shit. You know what? Since we're talking hood movies, let me find it because I think I have some. Oh, here it is.
He's gonna pull out State Property too.
Yeah, I'm about to pull out State Property. No, I bought this movie randomly at Blockbuster because the lead was on the Cosby Show. This is also 10 years ago, I should say. And it also takes place in Boston.
Ooh. And
it is one of my favorite fucking just crime hood fucking movies. It's called Blue Hill Avenue.
Good movie.
And I bought it for $12.99 at Blockbuster 10 years ago. It might have been on sale.
Who is that? Is that Alan Payne?
That's Alan Payne.
Oh, okay.
And William Forsythe is in it. Clarence William Jr. is in it. Basically, the essential premise of it, it's about these dudes from Dorchester, Mass, Blue Hill Avenue, which is like one of the more crime-ridden neighborhoods. Also, one of the blackest neighborhoods in Boston. And it's about these 4 kids who grow up, and it's just, it's the typical rise and fall. And they grow up to become massive kingpins in Boston, and the conflict between crooked cops, good cops, or good cops, and like other rival gangsters and stuff like that. And then it's also a big part about is Alan Payne and his relationship with his girlfriend from when he was 15 to now as a 30-year-old drug kingpin, and how that changes. And
it always does.
It's very well done. It's very well done. it's a solid movie. It's a solid
He used
movie.
to come on BET all the time. I used to always see it on BET. No,
that movie.
Yeah.
Oh no shit. Yeah, it's dude, it's good. It's good. And also I can see that because like a lot of artisan movies are on BET, and that's an artisan movie.
Yeah.
And Sam, you're from Boston.
Yeah, I'm from a town called Clinton. It's about an hour from Boston. It's a small, like, tiny town, like surrounded around farm towns and shit like that. But yeah, I've been living in Boston for like 8 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. It's and for those, I feel like I was have to give kind of a heads up because we kind of just go into conversations. For listeners, if you haven't checked Sam Ike out, check him out. Very funny. You have some clips on YouTube. Try to check him out live too. We've actually never met. I've always seen you around, never met you.
Yeah, that is very weird because I know all three of us we all have mutual friends. There's a lot of like we probably have been either in the same room or we're in the same room the next week or you know. Yeah.
Just different
I feel like
days.
That's one of the interesting things about comedy is that I've been to a show, like for instance, like I was on this cross country trip and I was like in Seattle at a show and I saw another comic and me and that other comic started talking immediately. We had never met, but we knew each other because we had seen enough, like we see each other's social media. We know people, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. I might have like in the, you know, the traveling through YouTube hole, seen their clip, you know what I mean? And like in person.
It's like you know of them, but not really know them.
Yeah, but you also know them in a way that you could instantly talk to them. That I don't think is like the same thing in other jobs. I think that's
social media afforded us this ability to get to know somebody without even fucking talking to them. You know what I'm saying? So,
it was like and it's also like there was a thing, I forget, maybe it was like Seinfeld or Chris Rock or one of those types of guys said it was like, if I'm at a party and someone says, hey, over there, my friend is also a comedian, and nobody else is a comedian, I'll end up even if that person has very different views than me, is a very different person than me, I'll probably be talking and hanging out with that person all night. Because there's a very like there's very specific things you can talk about because someone else who understands.
It's like a brotherhood. It's like a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Like a Kappa in Atlanta sees a Kappa from LA. They can talk. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You a comedian from LA, comedian from Atlanta. You got things to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's like a fraternity, a brotherhood. You know what I mean?
I wonder if birds feel that way. I feel like there's a lot of different types of birds out there. Like if a pigeon sees another pigeon, are they pigeoning it up? You never see woodpeckers and a pigeon talk. I don't know. Something to consider. Speaking of other comics, man, we got a premium comic in some comedy hot water. If we could play our comedy hot water music, that'd be very nice. Chris D'Elia. Thank you. So,
honestly, I legitimately thought you guys were just gonna start like blasting like Yeezus or something.
No, man, that was last episode. So that's one of the big things going on right now. Chris D'Elia, comic, he was on Chelsea lately. The Whitney Cummings show, large Sam comedian, people know who he is. The latest allegations and speaking out movement is underage girls or women that they put out screenshots stating that Chris D'Elia tried to creep on them, or for lack of better words, while they're underage, and they had some screenshots for it, and this has led to Chris D'Elia being dropped by his agency, and coincidentally he's playing a pedophile on a large show, You, on Netflix. I wanted to run some of this by you all because we're getting developing information along with some stuff on people doing the allegations. What were you thinking when you first saw like another example of someone getting canceled?
I'm all for canceling pedophiles. I have no problem with that. You won't find me on the other end of that. Like, I don't think we should. No, listen, I got two daughters. Cancel them. I don't give a fuck about them. As simple as that. That's just how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no room in my heart for pedophiles. Like, you preying on young women. I don't give a fuck what they do to you. How about you, Sam?
We feel that Alan's still on the fence about it. Sam, how do you feel?
Well, it's got another special guest, Chris Lee. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I totally agree with Alan. I mean, you know, it's just like fucking, that's like, that to me is different than, to me, that's not canceling. It's like, there's like what people are calling canceling, and then there's like justifiable repercussion.
Right.
Like, so there's like a difference in that. Like, you know, like, I think a more interesting debate for comedians is like, how do you feel about so-and-so posting something 6 years ago and people finding it or whatever? That is like more of a debate for comedians. But like what we're talking about with this story is just like, we're talking about an unspeakable type of evil. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's very different.
Right.
It's like,
the thing that stands out with this for me is that like, I'm 100% for that. If someone's doing something predatory, pedophile, all that stuff, I'm not for it in any way. Have that on the record. But and I mean like a but in terms of play devil's advocate, but like it hasn't been proven, sort of thing. So like the idea of canceling someone when information hasn't been proven or verified, and to see someone's name get dragged when we don't know 100% for sure. They had, the latest update was that some of the emails that were screenshotted originally, they're able to identify that some of the people that put them out, they omitted details from the email where the Crystalia was like, hey, what's your age? What's your age? And they wouldn't answer. They deleted that from the original screenshots. So it's like, I don't know, what if if he was asking for ages and it's just we're basing it off of 3 allegations. Again, I'm not saying like, yo, don't believe those people, but just to like drag someone's name like that for something you're not 100% sure about, that's like a nightmare for me.
Look, this is how I look at it.
This
is how I look at it, Kurt, right? So, like, I think that, like, and when it comes to, like, people in the streets, right? If somebody accuses you, like, they be like, yo, he's snitching, right? Like, nobody's going to accuse you of being a snitch unless you be doing some snitch shit. Like, nobody's going to come up to a random drug dealer like, oh, he's a snitch. No. It didn't come out of nowhere, bro. Like, you told on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
possibly. It just feels like you could definitely, like, if you want to villainize or even weaponize something, you can, that's like the go-to right there, especially now where it's like you're capable of canceling someone over a tweet. Yeah, if you say something like they did something along the lines of that's abusive, again, I'm not saying these people are lying. I don't know. I'm just more troubled by the idea of giving a final judgment before we have all the evidence. That's my thing with this one.
Right. I think like it, almost all of these situations from the past years comes from a fact of like, you have two things fighting at each other. One is an injustice that hasn't been dealt with before, and that ranges from everything from like police brutality to women being disrespected in the workplace and in non-workplace. Those things keep rising with nobody doing anything. And then you have the ability of people being able to speak out and be heard because of the internet. And then when those two things rise, you also have innocent till proven guilty. And that deteriorates when you can rise up public opinion with injustices that haven't been corrected before.
Yeah, I get that.
And I feel like all those things are being mixed. And sometimes those things are justified. And like you have like Cosby and Weinstein. Those things became proven. Those things they eventually, but they started because someone spoke out. At the same time, you also have, because of that, you have this fraction of people who take something that shouldn't be seen as like really a thing, or the intent was different when that person did the thing. Like, and now I'm talking about, like, you know, like the Kimmel blackface, the people, you know, the anybody upset about a tweet, that kind of thing.
Right. I saw that happen this week too. That's a big thing with Kimmel and the blackface and all that.
And then those things get put into that machine, and they all kind of gets funneled out, but there's no filter in how they fully get processed. And I think that's something that we're trying to figure out while human beings are trying to figure out how to work with the internet. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of friction within that, because
I totally agree, man. Because it's like a lot of people for years, like even look at like the idea of like police brutality, or even like in terms of like sexual abuse, and a lot of victims, they haven't been heard for years. So it's like we're getting to a point now where it's like, okay, well, public opinion and being able to hear actual voices is sometimes going over due process. And a lot of times I feel it's kind of justified, because due process doesn't really help out a lot of cases historically. So I get that kind of like in between, trying to find that balance of it. It's just, it gets tricky though. It gets tricky because it's like, all right, Alan, say someone was like, yo, Alan, he robs banks. There's a bank down the street. He robbed it. I know he did it. And then people are like, yo, Alan, he be robbing banks. There's Facebook posts about you robbing banks and all that stuff. People are like spray painting Wells Fargo across like your apartment and all that stuff.
Listen.
Now, if they interviewed me afterwards, like, yo, what's your deal with your boy Alan? Do I shit on you? Or do I'm like, hey, hold back a little bit. We don't.
You're gonna be like, Alan does have a history of stealing.
We have it on video.
This one, but he does have a history of stealing.
That was a bad example. Because it makes sense. Like, if people say it, it ain't come out of nowhere.
You're right.
Somebody's stealing some shit.
Yeah. Alan does like to steal. Yes. So, you're right.
I used to steal a lot, but now I'm good. I'm reformed.
You see Alan in a Walmart. Be careful.
Walmart's for rookies. I've been stepped at the Target. Come on, man.
Alan, you had mentioned it before, and I was being a guidance counselor, being a strict principal about it all, and structure. But NASCAR, man. NASCAR. Or as
News car,
man. What you may know?
So this is what happened. What happened real quick was they found a noose, what they suspected to be a noose in Bubba Wallace, the only black NASCAR driver's garage. After all this Black Lives Matter movement's been going on, they banned the Confederate flag. They just happened to find this rope that looks like a noose in Bubba Wallace's garage. The FBI investigated it and determined that it wasn't a noose. It was just a garage door pull-down mechanism. Now, bro, I seen the picture. It looked like a very good noose. Like, if somebody wanted to tie a noose, that's the noose in the encyclopedia. That was the perfect
premium noose. Yeah.
But the FBI said, oh, it's not a noose. So I guess back to business for that noose car.
So all right. So I know
the same FBI also wiretapped Martin Luther King, right?
The same one.
It's organization, right? Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same.
That's the same. Yeah,
like
the same one that killed Fred Hampton at 21. Yeah.
I'd be like, yo, how wild would it be if there's a new FBI? No one knows.
Nigga, you didn't hear about that other FBI?
Oh my gosh, what? But so the news, it did look very real, and even if it was the case, because I think one of the things they're saying is that it was in his garage before he took over that garage. Like, it was just something they had there. Why do you have a pull down for a garage that looks like a noose?
Yeah.
One's that big that you need to put it through a whole rope to bring it down like that.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And if it's been there before Bubba Wallace, that means so many people were okay with seeing it. Like, get out of here, man.
It speaks to NASCAR's culture. And I'm not going to, shit on NASCAR, but I'm going to kind of shit on NASCAR. It speaks to their culture a little bit of like, you could have something that's kind of like a noose around people wearing Confederate flags.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I guess you guys are just gonna let this one slip. Maybe it even cross your mind. It crossed their mind.
What you think? What you think, Sam? What you think?
The thing is, like, it's like I've never understood the outside, obviously blatant inherent racism. I've never understood the love of Confederate anything. In the sense of like the people who love the Confederacy and honor the Confederacy, they are honoring most of those, like most people that love the Confederacy also are hardcore about supporting the troops, right? Like that Venn diagram of people who like really are like, you know, bumper stickers, the support the troop shirts, they wear the button, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. To me, what's fundamentally frustrating and doesn't make sense is the idea of like, you love the Confederacy, you love the troops, but yet you love the Confederacy, which at its core was about dethrowing the United States government.
Yeah.
Right. And dethrowing the United States military that you love so much. So it's like, I never understood, one, you're going to honor slave owners, and then two, you're going to honor the thing that tried to destroy the thing that you now love more than anything. And that is the most bizarre thing. Cause like I have friends who I was just like on a back porch hanging out with one of my high school buddies, cause I'm back in my high school town. And like, he fought in Iraq, you know, and we talk about it all the time. And he's always like, it's always bizarre. The tweets that I get are from people who like have like Confederate flags and Trump stickers on their Twitter. Is like, it's so bizarre to me. Cause I'm like, ideology, like what I'm trying to do is not what you love so much. Like, yeah.
It's I see it almost like as a revisionist thing as well. Like, I think some of them are fully aware that that's like the cause of the Confederate flag and what it stood for and how it kind of goes against what they're kind of pushing for in being military. I think it's just the idea that, oh, okay, well, now we see it as pride and something that, you know, represents our past, sort of thing. And ultimately, how I always viewed it, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of anti-Black. So it's like, let's kind of just go.
Yes.
So when you mentioned at the beginning of it being inherently racist, yes, that's kind of the thing for it. That's how I feel about it. I never understood it, but people love them.
Yeah,
they're not I don't think they're proud of their heritage, and they're just literally saying, hey, I don't like you guys. Like I'm just racist. Like that's all they're saying. There's not like, I don't think there's this deep love for their heritage. Well, oh yeah, okay, yeah, yes. Maybe they're so in love with their heritage, they hate all other heritages. Like,
well, yeah, it's like, what is your heritage? It's like, your heritage owning slaves, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. You'd be for Confederacy.
That's why I wasn't so big up when NASCAR in 2020 banned Confederate flags. Like, that's why I was like, I don't care. Like, because they had nooses in their garages for months.
They're like, we're not going to ban those yet. New FBI hasn't caught wind of it yet, so don't worry about it.
It's like when people, like, you know, going back to like cancel culture, it's like people are like upset about some tweet or something that a TV show did, or some actor or whatever. They might have said something or did something that would be seen as like intentionally racist. But it's like, okay, we can get mad at that. I'm with you on that. I understand why you're frustrated at that. But at the same time, why are we not as mad at the fact that, like, if you look at Warner Brothers executives, they're all white. Like, it's like the change needs to come from the top, not like, I just don't. It's like,
it has to be both. It has to be both. You got to meet in the middle, from the bottom and the top. That's what has to happen. You know
a lot of people, it feels like it's getting the top as impossible.
Like it ever has tried. I'm sorry. I mean, it's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just feel like it's never. A lot of it hasn't been trying to progress up. It's been like trying to like just fight at equal level. And it's like that frustrating thing. It's like I want to build up.
Yeah, well, while we're fighting, the top is still just going up. You know what I mean?
And maybe it'll get to a point where it's like it really is the top, because I feel like a lot of times, especially when you see with like this movement, like it hasn't really been on this level before, at least from what I've seen in my lifetime.
Which movement? You mean like the Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, just okay. I'm referring to just as the movement, because like this is beyond like anything else I've been seeing in terms of like everyone's kind of on board. Right. Not everyone. Shout out to people that put nooses in garages. Not everyone. And also how cases are still happening and all that. But I don't know. I feel I lost train of thought.
Listen, man. I don't know where you were going, but I just wanted to jump back into the point that, like you said, this is the biggest movement that we've been going. And I said it before. Like this time of my life is the biggest moment of my life. Like this will never. This is just a crazy moment in my life. You know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot going on right now. And yes, people are saying that like they understand that Black Lives Matter and they get that. But like we're still seeing news car and we're still seeing Black people being hung and hanged in trees.
I just realized my point that I was going for with that one. Like,
glad I can help you out.
No, yeah, and I appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to Alan. He robs banks. So one of the big things going on right now is like the idea of like with statues and like taking them down. And to Sam's point, a lot of people are saying like, why focus on something that's symbolic like a statue when you can go for like the higher powers, the things that actually make a difference, whether it's like people that make legislations and people that make policies are getting more leadership in those big company roles. I don't know. Do you feel that there is power, though, kind of like what Alan was saying, of like starting to start from somewhere? Like with this one, it's like, all right, we're starting from somewhere. We're building our way up. And
we gotta take them statues down too, though, Kurt. That's not a small thing. That's a very big thing that plays a mental in people's heads when you ride past Robert E. Lee's statue every day on your way to work. It plays a like if you know who he is and you see that statue, or you see Christopher Columbus statue and you know that his statue is bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and I think we do need to take the statues down. It ain't the end of the movement, but that's part. We should do that too. Like, so we should still keep fighting and what we doing on the bottom. But like to Sam's point, like the top got to do some shit too. So yeah, is that what you were saying, though, Kurt? But I just feel like the statues do got to come down. That shit is bogus.
I'm not for the statues sort of thing. Like I'm like, we could take them down, but I'm also very much like, if they keep them up, fine, as long as they do something else. Like if it means like, all right, more executives like in higher place sort of thing, that's cool. And their statues stay up, that's fine. But it would be cool if they took the statues down too. It's like, I see it as like a bonus.
Yeah, massively. Like in like an ideal world, you could do both, right? But like in mainly what I was like trying to say is like when you look at a lot of these like progressive movements, it's like we're trying to move up, but then it takes a detour and then it stays in that detour. And then it doesn't turn back to go up. I'm saying that as an overarching thing happens a lot, not as like a specific thing about the statues. When it comes to the statues, it's like, again, it doesn't make sense to me that any Confederate statue or flag would be, fundamentally, I never understood the concept of why. But when it gets interesting to me for discussion is when you talk about like George Washington or Columbus, or you talk about a name of a town. Then it becomes like kind of interesting in that sense of like, what does it represent and what does it represent now? Like a town named after someone who did something, whoever that person is.
Right.
That town becomes now in 2020 is now something of a progressive, or is something is a representative of something positive in Black culture or community. Right. Is now, wouldn't you say that name has now been used in a good manner and is now being translated in a positive manner. Like that, to me, I find that interesting. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm curious about that. Again, I'm pretty much down. I'm pretty much down to get rid of. But I also think like there are Black people who have a pride in having something named Washington, and I wonder when they using Washington as a pride and as a means, is that not something for progress? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I really, that's like.
If you're using, I think if you're using Washington as in like a stepping stone for progress, I think your whole mental's fucked up. Like if you understand who he is and what he did, then you wouldn't be so proud of the name. You know what I mean?
I see the side of it too, of like it translating after a while into progress. I see it from two ends. I think there's like a collective way to look at it, and there's also like an individual way to look at it, sort of thing. So like if you have just a person that's like, okay, well, I see this as like I'm able to live my life, I'm able to do good, I'm able to raise my family, and I'm okay. I'm on Washington Street, and you know Washington's my last name. That'd be weird. But if that's okay with them, that's okay with them too. But as a collective, it feels like we have to recognize history or like identifying something as like a progressive. So it really depends, I feel.
Imagine. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, to me, it's like take down the Washington statue. I don't know how another individual would feel about changing their name from Washington. That's more what I'm trying to say. Is like that I'm curious. I honestly don't know.
So that's, but if I'm correct here, I mean, help me out here though. Anybody named Washington in this country, did they get their name from George Washington? Like at some point?
Oh no, but I don't know. Like like
Denzel?
probably
Denzel related?
Like I want to find out. Like I want to find out.
Founding fathers present to you John Q. That's
look, this is the thing though. Imagine, I don't know, 400 years from now, people living in like R. Kellyville. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like.
I'm not gonna, but if the hotels are cheap enough, I will visit.
The dance parties are amazing.
Open bar
for their music.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but like 400 years from now, people like they might not know the history of R. Kelly, but they are proud of where they're from. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like he was a real fucked up person back in his day, though. You know what I mean? So I just think that like it's not an easy thing, and I can't see them like renaming Washington D.C. or something. I can't see nothing like that happening, honestly. But I don't see nothing wrong with like taking down all the statues and the monuments. I don't give a fuck about them, honestly. I hated going to them, see them at field trips in middle school. I don't give a fuck about them. You know?
Alan, do we take on Mount Rushmore?
Take down. God, I don't give a fuck about none of these monuments. Take down delete all that shit. I don't care.
Like I don't have any. I don't care about. I don't care about the statue. Like I have no. To me, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I just don't. I don't care that much about the statues to want them to stay up in any way.
If you are like if you really need to have these statues put up and your life's gonna be ruined without them, you're racist. Mm-hmm. Period. You're racist, and I don't care what you think.
Yeah, it's like to me again. I feel like the statues and the Confederate flag, like those symbols, like it just doesn't fundamentally make sense to me in that regard. It's like I feel like the only real like thing that's like interesting to me is like the debate of like the name Washington. Like, what do you do, or Jefferson? Like, what do you do with that? Like that to me is interesting because like, and again, this is more of like for the sake of like saying something because it makes the other person's argument better, is like the difference between like Robert E. Lee and George Washington is that like you can also Robert E. Lee's entire
resume
is about yeah. Robert E. Lee's portfolio. Now, his LinkedIn is very racist. But when you compare that to the comparisons of like other presidents or whatever, it's very different because there's other things that were a part of their legacy. And I wonder what the conversation is with that. I don't have an answer. I just find that to be a more interesting conversation. Because, like, to me, I don't think I don't understand the debate of anything Confederate being up. And I don't understand this, like, the statue love culture is very strange to me in general. But again, I find that to be a more interesting thing. And it's also like, it also adds in more stuff that like becomes relevant because again, like I found it so weird that any Robert E. Lee statue would be up in any place in America.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of, I like the idea of like redefining names. I think plays a factor of like, all right, well, we recognize this. We saw their racial resume. It doesn't really line up with our ideologies. Do we redefine this into something that is, it's not necessarily paying homage or respect to the person, but acknowledging their atrocities while also acknowledging history and also moving forward with our life in a way that's good. I'm not saying this is the way to go about it sort of thing. There's times like I would be okay never seeing a Confederate flag again. I'm okay with that. Not just from what they represent. I just think they're kind of ugly. So I'm totally fine with that. So
you should say for what they represent. You should say that's the reason, Kirk.
That's terrible too. But like, the colors and just how it's designed, I feel like I could have done a better job on that one. I see why they lost.
If you want to keep the Confederate flag, you want to keep the Robert E. Lee statue, you should also put like a giant marker of like why you are doing. Like, like if NASCAR wants to have Confederate flags, go ahead. But put right next to the Confederate flag another flag explaining why you feel like this is important.
That's the new rule. I think I'm okay with that being the rule. If that's explaining why. I like that.
Just a flag flying next to it saying, because we're racist.
It's like, do that, fine. Leave them all up. Like,
I'm totally fine with that, actually. I wanted to touch on this before we end up, because I know we sometimes just pass over topics. This kind of plays into it. Everything going on with rapper No Name and J. Cole. Have you two heard of this?
Yeah, I've seen what's going on. I guess she called out some rappers on Twitter, and J. Cole made a song in response, and then Twitter sphere blew up. Or something like that.
I honestly have no idea. I found out who No Name was 3 months ago because I was supposed to do a music festival that she was on, and the only reason I knew. And I love the 3 songs I listened to I thought were great, and I literally can't name a single J. Cole song. I will totally admit, I'm one of these strange millennials that culturally, when you remove like a lot of like things that don't translate well, culturally, I lean towards things from the 70s and 80s. Like I know every Earth, Wind and Fire song, and I know very little. I wouldn't be able, if you showed me a picture of 6 rappers, I don't know who J. Cole is. Like
Wow.
I can reckon. I know Kendrick. I've seen Kendrick live 3 times. Like, I love Kendrick. I know all his albums, but I could not, and I can name every rapper from the 2000s because I went to high school in the.
New proper suggestion. Sam Ike has to listen to some J. Cole albums, man.
Yeah,
I agree. I also like, I don't know J. Cole in the same sense of like, I just found out who Doja Cat was like 2 weeks ago. Like, I am like, it is like pulp culture from the past 6 years outside of movies. I don't know.
I hear that. I identify with because I kind of tapped out a lot of pop culture stuff. So it's I know a lot about like battle rap, hip hop, movies, and the streets. I consider the streets something that I know much about.
I can talk movies and 4 months ago I could talk movies and sports current day with anybody. But when you brought up music, if you bring up music, like it's like I could tell you about an interesting Stevie Wonder article I read in the 80s. Like that's where I am musically. Like
I'm gonna bring up a picture of Marlon and Shawn Wayans and tell you that's the Ying Yang Twins, and then see what you do with it.
But the Wayans are comedy. Like I know.
You know who they are, and like the Ying Yang Twins probably around your high school.
Yeah, I know the Wayans. I can even tell you the difference between the Ying Yang Twins.
Oh, damn.
But like I can go 2000s rap with you, no problem. But what I can't do is I couldn't tell you if Sam Smith is white or black. Like I don't know who that is. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he's white.
I have no idea who that is.
For a second, I thought you were referring to
Sam Smith. Sam Smith is the founder of the Ying Yang Twins. How do you not? Yeah.
I just know he's a very successful music artist from the past 10 years. That's as much as I know.
He's a very successful manager as well. He discovered a lot of acts like the Ying Yang Twins. So
like, I have like no idea.
Look, so the rapper that you don't know anything about, J. Cole, he literally. So look, he got called out for being for not, speaking up about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So No Name called him
BLM, right?
BLM, right. So
okay.
No Name pretty much called out a bunch of rappers on Twitter. Just about, she didn't like call them out directly, but pretty much said like your favorite rappers aren't out here or talking about what's going on. And J. Cole took it upon himself to make a whole song about why he wasn't speaking out, and he pretty much was saying that like No Name should kind of relax. He's still learning, and teach him what's going on.
He used the term. He was like, "There's something about your tone that kind of rubbed me a weird way." Like he used that in there, and his whole thing was pretty much like, "This is all new for us. You should at times maybe treat it like you're talking to children in the sense that there has to be patience and a bunch of other kind of nourishing words and stuff." I listened to the song for the first time last night. Because I didn't understand where the criticism was coming from. I was like, I didn't really know No Name that much. I kind of know what's up with J. Cole. So that's pretty much it. No Name has that kind of criticizing. J. Cole comes out like, hey, kind of tone checked her in a way, which is like, and people are very much like, now they're kind of like looking at J. Cole like, what are you doing for us?
Well, I think, first of all, J. Cole needs to become more popular because I have no idea who he is.
Step one, J. Cole. Step one.
Yeah. I think he needs to do that. and then I think
I get Sam know who you are, man. You are slipping.
Yeah. Dude, man, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get fucked on Twitter for this podcast, not knowing who J. Cole is. I'm like, I think Seattle, Washington's a good place. Like, I'm like, I am fucking up on this podcast. Like,
yo, shout out to Seattle, Washington.
First black podcast I do in a month, and I'm fucked.
That's why you don't do black podcasts, because you don't know who J. Cole is.
It's literally every time I get the email, it's like, would you like to do this podcast? And I'm like, yes. Are you available Tuesday? Yes. Do you know who J. Cole is? And I'm like, no. And then I don't get a response.
You gotta let them know the whole Ying Yang Twin thing. I feel like that's a good kind of part. I could separate the Ying Yang Twins because most people can't do that. So have that part. It'll be fun.
One of the Ying Yang Twins is actually disabled. Did you know that?
Not both of them.
I'm serious. It's the short one.
The argument that both of them are. They're twins. I know how twins work. Okay, you fucking moron. If one's cold, they're both cold.
But bro, they're yin and yang. Come on, man. The other one's an intellectual.
They're not the Ying Yang brothers.
Ying Yang. Twins.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm curious on this. Like, what do you guys think of the idea? I mean, these two rappers are kind of like represent two ideas. The one of, you know, when educating other people, should we have a level of patience, as J. Cole frames it, or should it be a matter of like, hey, you're in this high power situation, people listen to you, have influence. We're not really caring about it, how our tone is right now. You should do something. I found it to be a propelling argument, and it was interesting to see that these two had them.
I think that. Go ahead. I was going to say real quick. Like, I think that it was funny that J. Cole didn't. I don't think J. Cole had to say anything. She put a tweet out. Yeah. Then she didn't tag anybody, but the shoe fit, and that motherfucker put it right on. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, I feel like you're talking about me.
That's but you don't have. That means you're in your feelings, and that means you're insecure about something, which means she's right.
But okay.
Sorry. Or that also could have meant that somebody told him that she was talking about him. That is a possibility.
Right, but he didn't have to respond though. He could have been like, "Oh, cool."
Oh, I agree. My general feel is like, if you're a celebrity or anybody that someone would listen to, you either say the bare minimum that you need to say, or express or fully express yourself in an informed way.
Right.
And I feel like if you're not gonna, I feel like when you do neither of those things, or you try to do something in the middle, you're gonna either muddle your true feelings, right, or it's gonna come off disingenuous because you actually are disingenuous.
Right.
That's a big, and I think disingenuous is a good word for it, because I think a lot of people, and his whole thing in the song is like, I haven't said anything because I still don't fully know. Like, people kind of assume I'm a scholar, but I'm like, I don't know, and I don't want to say something disingenuous, so I'm kind of just falling back a little bit. And I think that's okay. But I guess like when you're in that position, though, people kind of expect you to have something, to be a representation. So yeah, I'm not sure.
I just think that it's always better to hear no opinion than an ill-informed opinion.
Right.
And like, I think like that is like, it sounds like, because I obviously I don't know who J. Cole is. I didn't hear the song. I feel like that sounds like what he's kind of trying to say is that, now you can make the argument because of where he is, he should be more informed. And I think that's a fair and reasonable argument, but I also think that it's also like, I don't want to hear from every celebrity about every issue. So like, right. I also don't know, like it again comes to a fact of like, both arguments are intelligent and reasonable. One helps more people, but if dumb people are making ill-informed things, we've already seen with coronavirus what happens when you let a stupid person say uninformed things. So like, right. I feel like it's fair to say both sides are right.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to break it down. And like, Alan and I, we've been doing some uninformed information, broadcasting it for about 2 years now. Alan and I, we're very uninformed. It has not stopped us. Alan, we should chill.
we should make a rap song.
Someone needs to tone check us. Yeah, no, I think that's a great way of breaking it down. Like, I think, and a lot of people, it's hard to lose sight of that in this world of like, it's like, oh, either one is right and one is wrong. It's like, no, I think both can be okay, and recognize that there is a difference, but it doesn't mean that there's a bad within both camps. So shout out to both of those rappers. I have no name songs. I thought it was like,
I know more no-name songs than you, man.
You do, yeah.
Fuck you. You don't care. You don't know the movement.
I love the movement. Big fan of the movement. No name,
She has a song on the soundtrack of the movie Little, and I think it's called Diddy Bop. It's really fucking good, man. I've listened to it so much. I'm telling you, that song is fucking dope.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about to wrap up in a little bit. I'm glad we got some music suggestions. Shout out to Hein. They just dropped the album. Wasn't bad. Yeah, Sam. First of all, thanks for being here, man. This is very fun. This is very cool.
Oh, are you kidding me? Thank you guys so much. I don't know if this thing's ever gonna get aired, but like I wanna just say this was like honestly like really fun. I don't love every podcast I do, but I had fun on this one.
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. We appreciate it.
This is definitely going to get aired, right, Pat? Yeah. You hit record. You hit record this time, Pat.
We won't call Pat out, but yeah.
Pat knows we love him. We
recorded a fire episode. I was doing magic tricks. It was nuts. But the world will never see it. Sam, is there anything that the people could, if they want to find you anywhere, or your upcoming barn show, you want to promote that?
Oh man, I don't think anyone's gonna go to that. I think at the Sam Ike is like that's my Twitter and Instagram. I think on the bio is like a link to like my stand-up if you want to watch that and tell me I suck or tell me I'm great. Either way, I'm gonna read it and not say anything back.
Opposite J. Cole approach. Opposite of J. Cole.
Right.
I literally I'm one of those rare comics that will like I think this is more of a psyche issue, is that like people will read YouTube comments of their videos and they'll have an emotional reaction, and I literally read them and nothing. Like I feel like people tell me I suck, people tell me I'm funny, and I don't care. Like
that's a good trait. That's a good trait to have. Trust me.
It's also gotten me in so much trouble in my life.
It's like family members reaching out like, Sam, why aren't you like, yeah, we're commenting on your videos, but you haven't called us back at all.
Not being able to acknowledge criticism is probably worse than taking criticism too far.
No, that wasn't bad. This was great. I don't fuck your opinion.
I'm coasting off that for years. So.
I'll admit, not every joke I've ever written has been good, and I can accept that. I just don't care. Like I just don't care.
It's part of the process. Shit.
Yeah.
Alan, do you got anything going on?
Nope.
Bank you about to rob?
Oh no, look, I'm not robbing any banks, but to keep me from stealing, can y'all please go to my merch website, masshysterical.com, selling merch. I got the new mask, the face mask that say back the fuck up. So come buy them Jones, you know what I mean?
I'm doing nothing. I guess check out Proper Ebonics. If you're already listening to Proper Ebonics, keep doing that. And other than that, yeah, I'm around. If you know what you can do. I'm on Instagram, CapHeath24 and all that stuff. Send me local parks or regional parks in the Northeast area that I could check out. I'm all about checking out parks this summer. So send me some, state parks. That'd be nice. Very good.
Another thing. I got one more thing. Protect Black women. I want to say that too.
Protect Black women.
Protect Black. I'm all, yeah, hell yeah.
Let's do that. It's a good note to go out on, man, because a lot of shit be going on. We gotta protect our queens, man. That's all I want to say.
Great, man. All right, well, on that somber note, no. Shout out to the queens. Sam, thanks again.
I think this
thanks
would be
for
a
listening
great
to
time for us to really get into the problems of sex trafficking right now.
That's what we do at the tail end of each episode. We saved the last 30 seconds for an intense issue.
check out the bonus episodes on the Patreon. We're gonna discuss Israel and Palestine.
Catch us on the page. See you guys.
Proper Ebonics.